Look at the gasoline additive MMT. That's added to some brands of no-lead gas to give them higher octane ratings. Mr. Estes says the additive can cause engine deposits and plug up catalytic converters, the same problems that leaded gasoline can cause. And things are hopping in the auto plants this week. GM and the nation's other automakers scheduling overtime shifts at 20 plants this week. All that.
Also, an Action News Morning Report with Erik Smith.
Morning. Well, it wasn't much of a surprise, but at least it's official now. Outgoing United Auto Workers President Leonard Woodcock will be heading for China soon. Mr. Woodcock named yesterday by President Carter as his choice to be the new envoy to the People's Republic of China. Woodcock, of course, steps down next week from his job as chief of the UAW, ending his 44-year career in the labor movement. Mr. Woodcock says he'll be honored to accept the appointment to Peking. On his barnstorming tour of the Lower Peninsula yesterday, Governor Milliken said thanks but no thanks to the U.S. government's plans for Alpena, Michigan. The governor says he doesn't want the feds to consider dumping nuclear waste in a massive underground storage system in Michigan. Alpena, one of several sites currently under consideration for the facility. Mr. Milliken says he's sending the Federal Energy Research and Development people a letter asking them to stop even thinking about putting that dump here in Michigan. Savings and loan associations and banks in Detroit are putting together a special program aimed at ending redlining in Detroit. Redlining, of course, the practice of making it difficult to get mortgage money in older neighborhoods. The financial institutions are working with Mayor Young's administration to end that practice, and their plans include a special 7-member review board that will consider applications from anyone turned down for a mortgage on a 1- or 2-family home in Detroit. Coming up, a warning about a little-discussed crime that's more common than you might think. That's next when Channel 7 Action News continues.
Pride, I've got a surprise for you.
A surprise?
A pork sale.
Oh, boy, a pork sale. What is it? Chops, roast, ham, bacon, sausage. Oh, I can see it cooking now. What's the special?
Sometimes I even surprise myself.
Prize? You've gone hog wild.
Shop A&P and save on pork chops and quarter pork loins, 9 to 11 chops per package. Includes center chops, just 98 cents a pound through Saturday.
The peak boating season in the state of Michigan is just a couple of weeks away now, but so is the peak season for boat thieves, believe it or not. Stolen boats are a bigger problem than you might suspect, as we discover as Linda Wright-Avery reports.
Oakland County has 1,600 lakes and the second highest number of boats per capita in the state. That number is increasing every year, and so is boat theft. It's one of the fastest growing crimes in the country, according to insurance company records. In Oakland County, the peak season boat larceny count increased 100% between 1973 and 1976. Boat owner carelessness is a large part of the problem.
They're not taking care of their very valuable items, CB radios, life-saving devices, AM/FM radios, water skis, fishing poles. It's being left laying around and not properly secured.
The Sheriff's Department advocates that valuables left on a boat should be marked with the owner's driver's license number for identification. Ted Wade keeps the necessary engraving tools on hand at his marina on Elizabeth Lake, but he says only one customer has asked to use them in the past year. When you consider that during peak season, most people leave their boats open like this, even with the keys in the ignition, it's easy to see that a little common sense could prevent a lot of boat theft. Common sense applies to boating safety, too. And since 4 people have drowned in Oakland County so far this year, it doesn't hurt to remind you to carry one life preserver for everyone on board. And if trouble does occur, stay with your boat instead of trying to swim to shore. Linda Wright-Avery, Channel 7 Action News, reporting from Elizabeth Lake.
In the world of sports this morning, Dave Rozema, the rookie pitcher, turned in an impressive performance last night, scattering 5 hits as the Tigers managed to dump the Milwaukee Brewers 9-1. Vern Rule will go to the mound tonight in Game 2 of the 5-game weekend set with the Milwaukee club. Weather-wise today, well, as you know, on Friday the 13th, it usually rains, big dark clouds, but not this time. The weatherman's promising us mostly sunny skies. We'll have a high temperature in the low 80s. Currently, right now, it's 61 degrees.
This has been the Channel 7 Action News Morning Report with Erik Smith. Our next report at 8:25.
Half past right now. David Hartman with Sandy Hill. In this half hour, Geraldo Rivera is going to tell us about a sheriff who went to jail because he did not want to take action against poor people.
Junior high schools and Romulus Senior High School. In 15 minutes, they will evaluate whether or not elementary schools will be kept open. Please stay tuned. We'll try to update you on that before this is over. Meanwhile, everything is back to normal. In the Taylor School District today, bargainers came up with a tentative contract settlement after some marathon negotiations, both sides now reviewing that agreement prior to ratification. The controversial cancer drug Laetrile got a boost in Lansing yesterday. A number of people who used that illegal chemical attending a news conference held by State Senator John Wellborn. Wellborn introduced a bill that would legalize Laetrile in this state. If it's passed, cancer patients would be able to take the controversial treatment if they could find a doctor that would write a prescription for them. The burned-out chapel at Detroit's historic Elmwood Cemetery has gotten a boost from a group of Southfield school children. The 23 third graders in Mrs. Anderson's class at Stevenson Elementary School decided to help out the $200,000 effort to rebuild that chapel. It was badly damaged in a fire set by vandals last year. Restoration work is now underway, and the children raised about $38 by doing chores and odd jobs. Their principal and a friend matched what they made. Yesterday, student Pat Williams presented the money to William Butler of the Elmwood Cemetery.
Mrs. Anderson's third grade class, Adlai Stevenson School. I am pleased to present to you this check to help restore the chapel.
Well, on behalf of the trustees of Elmwood Cemetery and on behalf of all of the people in Detroit, I thank you very much for this check, and I appreciate it a great deal, Mrs. Anderson, and all of the rest of you. I thank you very much for this check, which means a lot to us.
Mrs. Anderson says she's pretty proud of those kids, and she's glad they learned something about Detroit's history in the process. Money, music, and painting, and dancing. Well, all that next when Channel 7 Action News continues.
Shop Federals and save on this Johnny Walker 4.5-foot spin cast fishing rod. Just $1. That's right, just $1 now at Federals.
WD-40, WD-40.
WD-40? Best tool I have. Great stuff.
WD-40.
Love it. I can fix things around the house I wouldn't even try before. It really works.
WD-40.
Listen, I use it on the car, the boat, the camper. I wouldn't start without it.
What's it for?
What do you have that sticks or squeaks?
Sticks or squeaks?
What do you have that sticks or squeaks? WD-40. Pick up a can at your favorite store. Try it.
WD-40.
By an overwhelming vote, the Michigan House of Representatives has decided to spend more money on the arts in this state. Next year's budget for the arts will be nearly double this year's. The $3.6 million appropriation, only a small part of the overall $144 million general budget, but it encountered some bitter opposition from many state representatives yesterday. One of them denounced the members of the Detroit Symphony, and we quote, as a bunch of prima donnas. You may have already seen the first skateboards of summer whizzing around the driveways or narrowly missing you along the sidewalks of the city. Right now, a group of Redford men are working to put skateboard riders in their place. They're building the first skateboard track in the Midwest. By the end of this month, the swerving, bending, up and down course should be ready, a safer place for skateboarding. Track spokesman Big Bill Kendallin explains.
We're trying to get the kids that are sports-minded to go into skateboarding, which they are doing in their driveways, out in the streets, and we're trying to teach them the fundamentals of safety first in skateboard, which it could be a dangerous sport. And if we teach them their rights and wrongs and have proper professional instructors and skateboard artists over here to teach them how to skateboard, it could turn out to be a real good safety sport.
The Tigers won one last night in sports, and 9-1 over Milwaukee. Vern Rule to the mound tonight as they continue their series. Jim Northrup and Norm Cash went to practice yesterday in slow pitch. Weather-wise, it'll be sunny today and warmer. We should see some showers perhaps later in the day. Current temperature 63 degrees.
This has been the Channel 7 Action News Morning Report with Eric Smith. Join Jack Legoff and John Kelly for Channel 7 News at 6, and Bill Bonds and John Kelly for Channel 7 News at 11.